BSD Talk, der Podcast von Building Smart Deutschland.
Hello and welcome to BSD Talk, the official podcast of Building Smart Germany. My name is Cornelius Preidl and I'm happy to be hosting another episode of our podcast series. As you may already notice, today is a little different. This episode is a fully international, or better to say, European episode. I'm sure it will be worth it because today I have the privilege of hosting two guests from Finland. Why Finland in particular? Well, Finland has taken a bold and visionary step. By 2025, every building permit in the country will be based on digital models. Submitting 2D documents such as PDFs is no longer sufficient and optional only. This paradigm shift is not just a technological leap, but also a significant policy innovation, reflecting Finland's commitment to embracing the future. Our conversation today will delve into the intricacies of this transformation. We'll explore the why and the how behind this remarkable decision by the Finnish parliament. What were the prerequisites for such a radical change? How is it being implemented and what challenges have been encountered along the way? Most importantly, we look at the lessons and insights that can be learned from the Finnish experience. Could this be a blueprint for our digital transition in the German building industry? What can we learn from the Finnish approach to policy, technology, and stakeholder engagement? That's why I'm all more pleased to have renowned experts with me today, with whom I can discuss all these questions. Anna-Riitta Kallinen and Pekka Virkamäki. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cornelius.
So, ladies first, Anna-Riitta, may I ask you a bit actually to introduce yourself, to explain a bit actually what your role is in all of this?
Yes, my role is that I'm a project manager for many of our ministries' BIM project and also others. I have been over 20 years with the Open BIM process and many of these national BIM projects also. And I have a quite large Building Smart network and others in European and other countries. And I'm an engineer backgrounded and I have my own company, Arkon, and I'm an influencer of the Open BIM concept.
Okay, thank you. Pekka, you are working for the Finnish Ministry of Environment as a building control director at the city of Vantaa. For everybody who doesn't know Vantaa, this is the location actually close to Helsinki where the airport of Helsinki is located, right?
Yes, Cornelius.
Yes, exactly. So can you tell me a bit like what you are doing there as a building control director and what is your role in this e-permit thingy?
Okay, 12 years I was the head of the building control of the city of Vantaa. The building control consists of about 40 people, maybe 12 engineers, 12 architects and assisting personnel. And we kind of gave building permits to airport and to small huts and everything between that. And first e-permitting took new tools for taking PDFs inside, and then we had this kind of processing tool. And now for last years, in 2018, we experimented then how to use BIM also and artificial intelligence in building permits. And 3 years ago, I was then invited to the Ministry of Environment, to the buildings and building department to prepare the kind of BIM legislation and bylaw of how to deliver BIM designs to building control and to the public use. And now I'm doing that work because we already had the kind of the Building Act where there is defined that BIM design is compulsory document when you apply for a building permit. Now I'm preparing the bylaw.
And that is exactly the interesting part, this specific building act you have been talking about. Maybe as a starting point to start with you, Pekka, you have been recently visiting us in Berlin for the Building Smart Forum, where you also presented exactly that building act and also the main motivation behind. I guess certainly you notice that digital building permits is also a hot topic in Germany, even if we are not yet so far along that we have already cast anything into regulations. However, here in Germany, we always focus on productivity or the reduction of the manual effort as the main motivation when we talk about digital building permits. But how has that been in Finland? What was the main motivation behind all of this in Finland? Can you tell me a bit actually about how that came about?
We went in 2015. We took the step so that we before that we took PDFs, but also paper designs when we processed these building permits. But in 2015, we took the next step so that we took new processing system called Cloud Permit. It was cloud-based kind of building permit processing system, and then in 1 year, no paper was used anymore in the building permit process, and we got kind of very much advantages so that the productivity rose up maybe 30% because we could make we could work anywhere 24/7. Everyone, all participants, owner, designers, and the building control, we had all the time updated information so that when we kind of connected us to the cloud permit system, we could see all the discussions as what has happened recently and the newest designs. If you compare it to this kind of separately delivered PDF documents or paper documents, it's much more efficient where you see your necessary documents what you need in the role that you are in the building process.
Mm-hmm. So productivity is already one of the gains, right? I mean, like productivity increase. This is what you can already measure. So this is something what you already benefit from in your processes.
And then we had the possibility to take the next step, science, so that we now can PDFs are not. You cannot use artificial intelligence because they are 2D documents. There must be always someone to interpret them. But when you can use simple kind of tools, then the BIM tools, when you now in the future.
Yeah, with the structured data. Yes. That is a lot easier. Another topic, Anna-Riitta, maybe that question can go to you, was actually not only this productivity aspect, but also sustainability. So what was the main motivation in terms of sustainability behind all of this?
I think that we cannot manage these calculations and estimations without the IFC files and open BIM processes. And of course, this is the productivity issues also that how we make these calculations. We can make that easily and reliability with IFC files.
So having IFC files as a baseline then to do carbon footprint calculations and all of this. And is that also a regulation in Finland, meanwhile, that you have to do that for any building during the permission process? So to also submit actually the results of a carbon footprint calculation?
That part of law is still under construction, so we don't know exactly how we are going to have it. And Mr. Virkamäki and I, we are in the same team with the Building Act and Secondary Act, but this is not our team issue, but we hope that we will have a national solution, whatever it will be, but some kind of process lining that how we will have to do it. But I will say that we can do this via IFC if we want to do it, but we have to have, of course, the requirements and the standards how we will have to do it.
We have already this kind of secondary act prepared that it is already ready so that we know kind of how we calculate this handprint and footprint of carbon. But it has not given up already. There was much criticism in the kind of, we got the comments from other participants, building industry, and so that we had to develop it. But the main kind of reason why we took this IFC, now the next step from the kind of e-permitting is that it is impossible to calculate complex calculation that are needed, so that we have to have this kind of tools to get information of the necessary information of the designs, and then we are also preparing tools for code checking. But the first step is that we try to get information of the designs, and then in the future also part of the code checking, simple code checking could be also done then by BIM tools.
Yeah, and then automated, of course. Like the interesting thing here is basically that when we talk in Germany, usually, well, it's hard to say actually that for everybody there, but the discussions that I have been listening to or just having with other people there about this digital permission processes was always very focused about productivity and reduction of this manual effort and things like that. Whereas obviously there is many use cases given that we are now starting, or the Finnish state is starting to collect structured data. Given this structure with the IFC schema. And of course, that just unlocks a lot of different use cases and a lot of potentials. Yes, of course, productivity increase, automation and everything like that. But of course, for example, the carbon footprint calculation. And that's a very interesting aspect because that is something, I wouldn't say that this is ignored in Germany, but that is not the main focus that we're currently actually talking about. And that is an interesting aspect. But now maybe to get a bit more deeper into the things, let's try to dive a bit deeper into the technology. So this implementation will undoubtedly involve technical tools and solutions, but I guess we all know that this is not enough because this whole matter is about people that need to be involved, processes, standards that need to be in place. So Anna-Riitta, what were the key components to ensure the successful implementation of this whole e-permit system?
Well, I think that the starting point was 2015 when we started the digital building permit with the SaaS-based platform that was used for cloud permit. And nowadays we have two platforms, Trimble and Cloud Permit. And that's that the platform is very important because if you have only that kind of platform that you only upload your files there, PDFs, and that's it, you cannot develop this process because your process is not involving with these files. So we had this kind of platform that has included this process. You can see all the time that the keeper partners can see all the time where your building permit process is going. Have something approved? Was there something was missing? This kind of disclaimer that you need to change this. This is not okay, or something like that. And that is our step that we continued with this project that I have been in project manager, and we add easily that IFC file into that. And now, of course, when you are talking about the machine readable data, you have to have the standard data. You have to speak in the same words. For example, we have a space group code made that we can unify this, so we don't use a different kind of codes or names. For example, office room or something else. We use the code, what is meaning for that, for machine. And of course, we need the kind of requirements for the IFC, the property sets and use case descriptions and rule sets for the checking rules. And this combination is made by this Rava 3 project that we have done now. And of course, I would say even more important than the platform was the involving the municipalities with this project. So we have been working hands-on with these people that are doing this by daily based. We are not doing this by the university only or some kind of academic upper cloud. We are doing this hands-on people, and we make sure that everything is doable. And if we make these requirements, we always check that it's doable for different kind of native softwares, ArchiCAD, Revit, whatever, and then we make these requirements public. And then we have made the pilot models, and we have checked, for example, we are launching the Solibri rules, national level rules for our building permit, checking rules. And we have described these use cases and rules. What is the law part for that use case? And then we have checked and pilot these rules also, that we have been doing this for different participated designers, building permit controllers, and all the other stuff. So we know that it's working. And now we are having the first one, the national level rule sets. So everyone can check out their design before they send to the building permit. I was saying that also because we was making different kind of designing parts, for example, MAP, we couldn't find the IFC entities deeply enough for IFC standard. So we have to make this kind of a solution that we will get enough structured IFC files, and we use now the BuildingSmart Data Dictionary service to make this usable. And of course, the ISD concept is also interesting, that we are focusing on the rule sets, the next step. I want to mention these because these are good tools and also available in German and other countries because they are BuildingSmart international tools.
And that's the baseline idea behind. So key takeout for me here is, first of all, human-centric approach, meaning like you have been really working deeply involved or together hand in hand with the municipalities. So meaning like with the building control officers working there, right, in the municipalities and doing these manual permissions before, and now you work together with them actually to develop then the automation, so the automated processes. And it seems like that this is a lot about communication, so meaning like that everybody who is involved in that process is also, it's about transparency, like the statuses that you have been describing, for example, that everybody is up to date 24/7, all unlocked, of course, by technology, cloud-based technology, which sounds beautiful. But second, then the open BIM approach, right? That it seems like that you have been using the whole bandwidth of open BIM tools and standards. So not only IFC, but now, as you have been saying, right, the MEP part, which was not detailed enough, and then you have been backing that up with the BSDD. So what was the main reason for you to pick open BIM technology? Was it the openness? Was it the open documentation? What was the main reason for you?
When we prepared the legislation, we tested in the first place in the beginning of 2010. They tested to use this ArchiCAD and Revit designs and see how we can use them in the public building control. We noticed very soon that it is not possible. We have to, if we want to make this kind of building control processes, they must be based on open BIM, and that is the kind of the main reason why we took in legislation that it is open BIM that you have to use when you deliver the designs to building control. And also we will have a national register where we will collect all BIM designs then from the municipalities, so that we will have them from all our building stock. After 2015 we will have IFC files, and then the files must be also archivable, because they are coming to the public register. And now our National Archive Office approved IFC 4.0 to be archivable open BIM kind of format, so that now the only kind of way that you can deliver your designs to the building control is to store it in the IFC 4.0 format. That is why if there comes some other open BIM programs that our National Archive Office approves to be permanently archivable, then we can use also the others. Open BIM is this kind of winning horse. I think all over Europe it will be, and also you refer to the kind of the environmental questions. Of course, we have now national rules, but they are preparing very, very big kind of portion of national of rules also on EU level, and they will come very soon in some years, and I think every country in EU should be prepared to take them, because they will be compulsory in every country in Europe.
Here we are actually with a transfer, right? Because the lessons learned, right, on your side, that is something really valuable for also the German side. Talking about open BIM, I guess that also this open BIM approach with one size fits all was also a nice approach when coming to the rule sets. Anna-Riitta, you have been talking about rule sets that have been developed. So I'm like taking the Finnish Finnish building regulations and so on. I can imagine that you have been translating those into these rule sets using obviously Solibri as a software. So how much of all of these building regulations is now translated into Solibri rules and thus automated?
We chosen those ones that are suitable for this kind of machine readable and automatically, because we have, of course, those kind of rules in the law that we cannot measure. We don't have the numbers that the machine needs, but we have let's say 40. It depends how you will calculate this in the main level or in the sub rule sets for the same issues. For example, accessibility. You have to check different kind of aspects before you can say that this is accessible, for example. But a huge amount we found that we can use, and we have been approaching these that we have a target for this automatically checking process now. But of course, we have a long history. Over 20 years, we have been using IFC and OpenBIM. And we have to remember also that we don't make the models or designing only for the building permit issues. We use that in the other parts of the process. For example, construction site, facility management, whatever. So that's why the IFC, because it's an international standard, serve us and also make this kind of international cooperation possible to us that we can use. And the softwares, we can use different kind of softwares wherever these softwares are coming. We will make this kind of easy connections, and we can, for the native softwares, for example, ArchiCAD, that you can easily write down the IFC file there, and you can choose the same content into the IFC file in different kind of countries. You can make these kind of unified files. And of course, these new regulation for the carbon issues and others, it's easier if you have a EU level requirements that we use the IFC files for that, not the native software or something Finnish content, because the regulation is EU level.
Exactly.
And I can say that when we do this kind of code checking rules now, at least the ones that are kind of financed by the ministry, we choose that kind of rules that are necessary for the building control checking, so that the kind of for the main issues for fire safety, constructural safety, and that kind of, and we start with them. But I can say that I have been also a member of the European Building Controllers Association, CEBC, and if we can compare the rules that are used in different or building code that are used in different European countries. They are quite the same. Only the numbers change because we are up in north and you have your. But anyway, if we make checking rules for one country, they can be applied in other countries. The same system. It's only you can nationally then check that it kind of goes ahead with your own country's rules. So that I think, and also this kind of our processing system, it is easy because they are kind of. Everyone has its own role there, so that owner has a role. He can see all the things. Then there is the main architect. He can see everything. Then there is different kind of designers. They can see then the kind of designs that are kind of concerned there, and then we can also make announcements for the neighbors, but they can only see small part of these designs that are necessary for them. And also I would say of the development that Anna-Riitta has made, there was 23 municipalities involved in that process, and there was building controls that consist only from one person, 100% person in Helsinki, so that we have all kind of different building controls, and they have been kind of developed for the use of everyone.
Which is great, because that is one of the baseline demands, right? In the end, so that it's usable for everybody in there, right? And
if I can add for Mr. Virkamäki's speech, of course, this automatically checking process will serve also those municipalities that have only one person and who has no knowledge about using BIM, because the idea is that you put your IFC file on the platform and then you will get back the results of the checking rules. So you don't touch the IFC. Nobody is touching the IFC or downloading that to the desktop version, but you use the source-based software behind the platform software, and you use the REST API data flow for that. So that will serve a huge amount of municipality in Finland when we get this ready. And when I mentioned Solibri is a background in Finland, and everyone is using Solibri already. And of course, some of those municipalities, building permit officers, are using at the moment Solibri without these rule sets. But we have also, because this is a ministry project, we have also made this general level IFC guide how these rule sets are described in general level. But because we have done this so many years, this development, we of course know what is the softwares that we are using in Finland, for example, this platform softwares and others. So that's the one point that we made.
Yeah. And did I get that right, that these rule sets you have been developing, which contain all this rich knowledge about actually the building regulations and so on, this is openly available? This is publicly available for everybody actually to use it also during the planning process?
Yes, of course, this is national level checking rules. So we have to describe that what is inside and what is the law part, that this is this use case focusing for accessibility for wheelchair measurements for the something or others. So we have described these for the use cases, descriptions, and of course this general level guide for IFC checking rules will be public and open, but of course we need the tool, the practical life. So that's why we made also this Solibri rule sets that is available for those who has a Solibri license. And in Finland, everyone is using that. So it's a quite large amount of people that is using it today. But we will give open for our results. And we have already discussed in many countries that how they could use this, and they don't have to start with the empty paper and red pencil for this project that they are having. So, and we have been comparing actually with Estonia with our accessibility rule sets, because we are in the same EU project accord, and we like to perhaps give some kind of ideas that how we could give our rule sets to the European countries and make this kind of joint cooperation between different countries for that.
And that actually makes a lot of sense. So learning from each other and doing this transfer actually from A to B, and all, well, enabled and unlocked by basically the beauty of open BIM, right? Because I mean, like the purpose of all of these rules to make a building accessible or fire safe and these kind of things. I mean, like it's all the same in all the different countries. It might be just described with different parameters or whatsoever. So I mean, like this learning curve doesn't have to be that steep, for example, for Estonia, but maybe also for Germany. That would be great. So having these rule sets there, that would be a great first step actually to also learn from how things have been done in Finland.
We are doing this also hand in hand with Estonians, so that Estonians are in some parts they are ahead of us. And we are in some parts we are ahead of them, and we have this kind of friendly competition with them. And I think it has been kind of beneficial for both of us. And also we have announced this happy message to other countries, Baltic countries and Poland and Czechoslovakia. This is very good. And also if you think about the development of BIM and Solibri, so that we have, when we started with our first this kind of experimental projects there in Finland, in city of Vantaa and city of Järvenpää, we already in first hand we took kind of contact to Solibri, and we have developed together with Solibri all the time this kind of discussions, and we hope that in the future also we can make this kind of German-Finnish cooperation with Cloud Permit and Solibri, so that they kind of make a perfect kind of whole system of this kind of using kind of e-permitting process, and also this code checking and BIM and using artificial intelligence, so that there is full package now ready.
It sounds like it, but I'm really looking forward to this Finnish-German cooperation actually going hand in hand and learning from each other.
I have still one issue that I want to mention, that of course in Finnish process we add the IFC model of the building to the city model or urban model, how you can explain that, and we can add also the 4D scheduling in there. We can see, for example, the building site safety plan with the 4D scheduling added to the city model or urban model. We can play that and see how it's going to be in the real environment, in different weekly based even, and how the construction site is going to move, and which is the roads and other logical ways that we need to see, and we can serve that with the different kind of key partners of the neighbors, for example. So because we use the IFC file in other phases also, and our building control process needs to have this city model aspect also. So we can combine these because we have IFC files.
So also other domains actually benefit from all this, rich of knowledge. Yeah, great to hear. So, time flies already. So we have to come to an end already. But I'm like, to close this whole episode over here, I would like to look with you together actually a bit into the future. So if I would ask you actually 10 years from now, looking at the permission process, let's say in all over Europe, how would you envision that e-permission process to look like? Anna-Riitta, maybe to start with you, how would you envision the future in 10 years from now?
I think that we will collaborate more tightly with different countries, and we will have this kind of general requirements for the IFC, and we have general use cases or rule sets for this building permit issues, at least the general level that we find that we can use the same kind of in different countries. And I hope that we will still have a more developed IFC standards also. It's not completely ready yet. I believe that we need some add-ons in that, and we will have more collaboration between buildings and infra and city models, and we will have more this kind of machine intelligence for that we can use for estimations and things like that, and more better quality of the building segment and the construction industry.
With your national archive, you're paving the way exactly for that. So that is the perfect starting point exactly for that. Pekka, maybe same question for you. How do you see the future in 10 years from now?
I see that at least in Finland, we will have all our building code and building regulation. They will be checked if the rules are machine readable or not. Where you have to have an architect or engineer to interpret the rule, or is it kind of the checking? Is it possible to do in only this kind of artificial intelligence tools? And then I think also maybe not in 10 years, but all rules that come from EU, they will be also checked if they are machine readable. And there will be also this kind of code checking rules for them, so that all the regulation that come from EU concerning the building and buildings and built environment, they will be interpreted in the same way in every European country, because machine interprets the rules only one way. So that this kind of new ideas are coming. Then there will come the digital building logbook definitions that also make so that we have the information of the building for the whole kind of life of the building. It will be then kind of for the maintenance, and also for different kind of calculation, environmental calculations, different kind of that are in the public interest. And of course, there is much place for development for the builders, the more precise that ideas that we need for the public sector. But anyway, I think BIM will be the future, and IFC will be the winning horse at least at the moment and everything will be based on open BIM.
Well, perfect last words, basically, right? To just now wrap it up and say, first of all, thank you very much for this, nice pictures actually about the future. And I think, there is a bright future lying ahead of us. And I'm really looking forward actually for more cooperation, collaboration between the European countries in all of this. So, but it's now about time actually to say thank you very much for your time, Anna-Riitta and Pekka. Thank you very much for joining this podcast episode.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cornelius.
So, and for everybody else, actually, thank you very much for listening. And the only thing left over to say is just please tune in the next time when there is going to be a new episode of this podcast. Thank you.